How's everybody doing today? Hi friends and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to sew our block number 2 of our Designer Mystery block of the month. And this is what we're sewing today. So this is what our block looked like this month, and our designer for this month is Stacy Itsu. And she is a moda designer as well. So she designed more of like kids fabric, like camping. And I think she is also on Instagram, but her fabric is geared towards like if you're looking for adventurous fabric, like outdoor fabric, she's your girl. So anyway, so that's what we're doing today. So last month I said that I was going to do the first 6 sets of the finishing part of the block. And then this month, I'm going to do the next 6 sets of the block. This right here is what the top of the house, the roof is going to look like. And we need to make 6 of each. Like I said, I'm doing it as we go so they don't build up and I don't get overwhelmed at the end. All right, what I'm gonna do now is, I know we need to make some HST for this block. And we need to make 8 HST. So what I'm gonna do is make 8 at a time, and I'm gonna make that first, okay? So I am going to, when I cut this piece is A and D, I'm going to cut just one of each fabric, and I'm going to sew just one, and I'm going to just make 8 HST and then trim them down to what they need to be. So here we go. This is what I'm going to do. Let me bring the camera down so you guys can see exactly what I am doing. I am going to cut out this white piece, and I already cut out this green piece right here. So this is my A and this is my D right over here. So what I'm going to do is put them pretty sized together. So let me put this on this green tab right here for you so you can see. I think that's better. So I'm going to put this together, and I'm going to draw a line from here to here and a line from here to here. So that way we could just make our 8 at a time HST or half square triangle. So what I'm going to do is bring my ruler. This ruler right here is an OmniGrid brand, and it's a 1/4 inch ruler. So this right here is a 1/4 inch, and this from here it's a 1/4 inch. So together it makes a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna put this like this and draw a line. So this is kind of what it looks like, okay? I'm just gonna sew 1/4 inch away from the center. So now I'm just gonna sew. So here we go. And I'm just gonna come back around and sew 1/4 inch apart. So now that these are all sewn, what I'm gonna do is just create my 1/2 inch right here. All right, I'm going to cut. I'm going to move my table thing, put this smack down the middle, cut. Okay, all right. So now that I have 8 equal pieces sitting here, I'm just gonna bring my nifty ruler right here, and I'm just going to trim down. So the rule, well, not my rule, I'm just going by what I've learned over the years. If you want to make a HST 8 at a time, it is advised to cut your squares. Like for example, if you're gonna make 3.5 inch half square triangle, it is advised to multiply by 2. For example, 3.5 times 2 will give you 7, right? And then you're supposed to add 7/8, and my brain does not do well with 7/8, so I just add a whole inch. Whatever the pattern calls for example, if it says 2 inches, you're going to cut 4 and then add 7/8. And if you're like me and you think, oh my gosh, I don't have time to add 7/8, just add a whole inch. So 4 plus 1 will give you 5 inches. So you're going to cut 5 inches of 2 pieces of square fabric to make 8 HST, and you're just going to do it the exact same way that I just did to make your 8 inches. I hope this makes sense for you guys. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just going to just trim it to the size that it calls for. Whatever the pattern calls for, if you are sewing along, you're going to times it by 2. And if you're good in math, you add 7/8. And if you're like me, your brain checks out at 5 o'clock. Because I work 8 to 5. If your brain checks out at 5:01, you will add just 1 inch. In my case, I added 1 inch. I don't know, a minute of a fabric is not going to matter. So I'm just trimming, and when I get done with this, I will press it with an iron flatten it out, and then we have our 8 half square triangles all completed just by sewing 2 pieces of fabric together. And if you don't have this, this is the Clearly Perfect Slotted Trimmer Ruler. It comes in 2 different sizes, a whole number and a half number. These things are amazing. It's just a nice to have kind of notion. So what I'm doing now is just, all right. So now we have 8 half square triangle all done in 1 cutting of fabric. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is pick this up and just put it aside, and we are done with this part. So the next thing now we're gonna do the next step. So the next step wants us to take our piece H, which is this red piece right here, and we are going to sew onto the corner. We're going to sew our F pieces. Okay, so I have my F piece right here. And I'm just going to put the pretty sides together, and I'm going to sew. So I'm just going to cut the corners off like that. Doesn't matter, I don't measure. All right, so, and then I'm just going to flatten it. In this case, I am pressing open. I think the pattern has us press into the green, but I'm just going to press it open just because. Okay, because it makes it easier. This is a lot, it has a lot of points, so I just want to press it open. So this is done, and we will need to make 4 of this. So these are all 4 already right here. So our next step is done. That's step number 2. So the next thing we're going to do is take these steps that we've been making. We are going to assemble them, and we are going to sew. We're going to take this step, this second step that we did. All right, we're going to put it right in the middle like that. And then we're going to bring this HST that we did, and then we're going to put it like this. Since we made 8, we need 4 on this side, and we need 4 on this side, because we're going to need 4 of this segment. Okay, so we're going to take our B piece, which is right here, right? And it's going to look just like this. And we are going to sew this. We're going to make 4, and I'm going to sew that right now. So this is just going to be like a 4 patch type thing. So here we go, making sure that I have my pieces on right, and I do. So now you see why I'm pressing open, because it lays flatter on the corners. So I'm choosing to do that. The pattern did not say to do that. I'm just doing that because I want to. All right, so this is where we are. We're just going to sew this, and I'll meet you here, okay? So this right here, I'm just going to press away from the center, and I'm going to press away from the seams. All right, and then I'm going to sew that. I'm not going to pin. I'm just going to hold it in place. So here's what it's looking like so far. This is 1, and this is 2. Okay, so I'm just going to put it right there. This is done. And then we're going to sew 2 more. The corner segment of our block is now completed. I'm just going to put it right there. Next, we're going to take our piece G, and then we are going to sew C, which is the background, onto the corner, kind of like a cat ear type thing. So I'm just going to put it on the corner here and sew on the corners. I'm going to come around and sew onto the other side, just like this. I'm just going to snip and come around, cut the thread, and then just sew right there. All right, and I am going to press this open because it's so tiny. And then when I mean press, I'm not ironing and I'm not swishing my iron this way. I just put my iron on top and then just press it on it to get the seam a little flatter than using my fingers. We're going to need to make 4 of this, guys, and these are all 4. They are completed. So I'm going to put them right there. The next thing we are doing is taking our J piece. We're going to sew onto the corner using our I piece. So we're going to need to make 4 of this. I'm just going to go ahead and sew all 4 of them. I have to visit the Jack the Ripper, and because I sew onto the wrong side, I have to rip it and redo it. So that happens. It's okay. It's right in front of my face. I don't understand why I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. And so let's try this again. All right. Okay, so I have all 4 of them sewn right now and they are completed. And so that is that. Next, we're gonna take our E piece, which is the little green pieces, and we are going to sew on our piece K onto each corner. Now this is a little bit tricky because we're going to come back and sew another color onto the corners. So now I have the corners sewn on. The next step we're going to do is making sure that we sew this corner on like that, okay? I tell you what, these are some super tiny pieces. Okay, so now all 4 of them are done. This is what they are looking like. They're super tiny. The next thing for us to do is to set them like this and like that, okay? And we're going to just sew them together and we're going to make like a cute little 4 patch, okay? So now both of these are sewn on and they are still joined right here with the little thread. I'm just gonna flip it over and sew them as a 4 patch. Okay, I'm not going to pin, I'm just going to hold on to it and hopefully it lands where it's supposed to be. So now that these are all done, we just need to make one of this. Our next step is to assemble the block. So I'm just going to bring my board over here and assemble it. So press that down as much as I can. I'm gonna bring all the pieces that we've been making. So I'm just gonna put that in the middle and I'm going to take our first set, put it like that, and then on the side like this. I just want to assemble it just to make sure that I'm not doing it wrong. This is what they are looking like right now. So I'm just going to bring our next piece to the bottom like that. Oh my goodness. Yep. I think it's like this. And then this is going to come over like that. Now we have our corner segment right here. We're going to just assemble them. All right. So this is what it's looking like right now. And then, so what I'm going to do now is just piece this middle part by themselves. So I'm just going to piece these. All right, so 4 of these are all sewn now, and all we have to do is connect our blocks, okay? Okay, so now all this are sewn. These 2 right here, I just sew them together to make one piece. So what we're doing now is just making like a kind of like a night patch. So I'm just gonna sew all this together right here, and then after that we will attach our house, the finishing component rather. Now I do think it's always a good idea to, when you come up here, to just kind of pin. I'm not a very big pinner, so I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to flip my seam this way. This seam is going this way and then this seam is going that way. So I'm not sure if you can see that. And I'm just gonna come around to pin. And then when I come to the other side, I'll do the same. So now our block looks like it's completely done, and it is done. If you're not going to sew on the finishing component, you are done at this point. Okay, I want to finish it. I want to go ahead and sew on the finishing component. I have already sewn the house, the roof of the house. I have all my pieces all cut out here. This is for the first set with the red rooftop, and it has a pink side, and then this is the second set with the green rooftop that has this kind of beigey taupe looking color. So these are all the side pieces that I have already cut out and completed. These right here, these half square triangles here, are the cutout from the house, from the rooftop right there. So I have them all cut. So I'm just gonna go to my instruction and see what we need to do next. Okay, so we're going to sew on our pieces R. So we're going to take 2 of that, put it onto the side, take our S piece and put it onto the bottom like this. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and I'll sew it. It is always a good idea to sew not blind, and sew onto the other side of your piece that has the most seams. I didn't do that with the other side, but I'm gonna do that with this side just so I do it the right way, because so I've sewn on both sides and the bottom. So next we're going to sew on our C pieces, which is going to be the background for the house. So the blocks has their own background, which is this cream on white. And then when you go to sew on the houses, it has its own background, which is this multicolored, very fun, girly looking fabric right here. Okay, so what we're doing is sewing on to right and left, and that's my C pieces for the house component. All right, so I'm just gonna sew it on. So last but not least, we are going to sew on the rooftop. Okay, and for this one, it's going to be the green piece. So that's what I'm doing, and we will be done. This is a mammoth of a block. So here's our block all completed. This is block number 2. I went on ahead and did the finishing component for this block. So this is what our block looks like right here. This is block number 2. So there you go, all done. And that's all I have for you today. You guys, I hope you're having a great day, and I would love to see you in my next video. You have a wonderful day.